Some betrayals don't come with warning signs. They arrive dressed as celebrations, wrapped in smiles, and disguised as family love. I thought I was attending my sister's engagement party to support her happiness. I believed I was rolling into peace. What I didn't know was that my presence there had already been rewritten into something ugly. I didn't know that my pain had become her rumor. I didn't know that my disability had turned into her favorite accusation. And I never imagined that by the end of that night, my body would be lying on a marble floor while my dignity was being questioned in front of strangers who had already been taught to doubt me. 6 years earlier, I had walked without fear. I worked long hours, saved aggressively, dreamed relentlessly. I believed effort meant success and loyalty meant safety. Then one rain-soaked evening, a speeding car ran a red light and shattered everything I understood about control. The impact crushed my spine. The doctors worked for hours. I survived. But the life I knew did not. When I woke up, I was told I would never walk again. Some words change the shape of your future permanently. That sentence rearranged my entire existence. Relearning how to live without your legs is not poetic. It is clinical. It is humiliating. It is slow. It is grief disguised as rehabilitation. Every basic movement becomes negotiation. Every staircase becomes a wall. Every public space becomes an evaluation zone where strangers silently decide whether your condition deserves respect or suspicion. Pain becomes routine. Dependency becomes unavoidable. Pride becomes something you relearn in fragments. My sister changed during that time, not all at once but in steady, almost unnoticeable steps. In the hospital, she cried loudly. At home, she visited often. Then gradually the concern thinned. The visits shortened. The patients expired. My wheelchair became inconvenient. My limitations became embarrassing. My silence became useful. 3 years into my recovery, I noticed she had stopped inviting me to social events. Family dinners happened without me. Photos went online without my face. My existence began to feel edited out of narratives where I once belonged. But I remained silent. Not because I didn't feel it, but because survival requires choosing your battles when your energy is already limited. When the engagement invitation arrived, it came with polished cardstock and formal print. My name appeared in beautiful cursive. For a moment, I allowed myself to believe this was reconciliation made tangible. I allowed myself to imagine sitting in the corner quietly, unnoticed but included. I allowed hope to override instinct. The day of the party, I dressed carefully. Nothing loud. Nothing dramatic. Just clean lines and soft colors. I didn't want attention. I only wanted to exist without explanation. As I entered the banquet hall, the sound of celebration flowed around me without absorbing me. Conversations slowed. Glances tracked. Reactions calculated. I moved forward anyway, used to navigating through unspoken evaluations. From the moment I arrived, something felt misaligned. People smiled, but the smiles arrived late. People greeted me, but their voices carried uncertainty. Their eyes lingered with curiosity rather than warmth. The compassion felt filtered through skepticism, as though something about me had already been discussed and quietly labeled. My sister moved across the room in champagne-colored elegance, surrounded by admiration, laughter, validation. She did not come toward me. She did not wave. She allowed distance to perform on her behalf. Throughout the evening, small patterns repeated themselves. Servers hesitated when approaching me. Guests studied me when they believed I wasn't watching. Soft conversations paused abruptly when I rolled past. Something had already been planted, and I could feel it growing in the gaps between interactions. The more the energy shifted toward celebration at the center of the room, the more invisible I became at the edges. I watched from a distance as she glowed beneath layered lights. She was celebration personified. I was contrast. Then the pressure arrived suddenly at my side. It wasn't violent. It wasn't dramatic. It was precise. A small force applied at the wrong angle is all it took. My chair tilted. My balance failed. My body followed physics instead of will. I fell forward onto the marble floor hard enough for pain to radiate through my ribs and spine in sharp, breath-stealing waves. For a fraction of a second, silence claimed the room. Then the story was released. Before concern could stabilize, accusation replaced it. Before help could arrive, doubt took its place. What should have been interpreted as an accident was reframed as exposure. My fall became proof to a rumor already circulating. My paralysis turned into suspicion. My survival into manipulation. In seconds, the mood inverted. Guests hesitated not because they didn't see me, but because they no longer knew which version of me they were allowed to believe. The most devastating part of that moment was not the pain in my body. It was the realization that this narrative did not begin that night. It had been crafted slowly, deliberately, and carefully long before I ever rolled into that room. The floor was cold beneath my palms. My lungs struggled against the pressure of shock and humiliation. I looked at the faces above me and saw confusion, judgment, discomfort, and in some expressions, disappointment, as if I had failed an audition I never knew I was performing in. My phone slipped from my hand when I fell. The screen remained unlocked. What played next was not courage. It was consequence. For over a year, I had quietly documented my medical reality. Full neurological scans, electrodiagnostic reports, physical therapy recordings, rehabilitation breakdowns, surgical consultations. Every professional assessment that confirmed, without ambiguity, the extent of my spinal damage. I never collected it for revenge. I collected it because when your reality is questioned publicly, proof becomes protection. One by one the files played. The room absorbed the truth not through argument, but through undeniable evidence. The fall was no longer interpreted through rumor. It was redefined through documentation. Then more appeared. Voice messages. Text threads. Mockery spoken without restraint. Casual jokes about the inconvenience of my wheelchair. Requests to keep me out of certain spaces, because I disrupted visual harmony. Laughing commentary about how easily sympathy could be controlled with the right narrative. The silence that followed was not explosive. It was absolute. Attention did not turn violently. It turned completely. In that shift, power moved without resistance. The celebration no longer held weight. The engagement no longer held authority. What remained was the presence of truth occupying a space that had been built for illusion. Someone returned my wheelchair. Someone helped me back up without hesitation this time. Eyes no longer questioned whether assistance was deserved. The doubt had collapsed under the weight of clarity. I did not look at my sister. I did not need to. I did not need to confront. I did not need explanation. Exposure does not require performance. I left the hall quietly. The sound of celebration did not follow me. In the weeks that came after, consequences unfolded in fragments. Whispers turned into confrontations. Distances formed. The engagement dissolved under scandal too heavy to carry quietly. Family relationships fractured along lines that could no longer be denied. But the heaviest aftermath was not public. It was personal. For a long time after that night, I sat with the realization that the betrayal did not truly begin when I hit the floor. It began when my pain was first discussed as inconvenience. When my vulnerability became material for comparison. When my silence was interpreted as permission. Disability teaches you resilience in your muscles first, but in your identity second. You learn how to exist in spaces that were not designed for you. You learn how to accept help without surrendering dignity. You learn how to endure being observed as an object of curiosity, rather than a person of complexity. Race teaches you that belief is not evenly distributed. That credibility is often assigned before evidence is examined. That some bodies are trusted immediately, while others are required to prove gravity with documentation. Family teaches you that shared blood does not guarantee shared protection. That loyalty can be conditional. That proximity does not always equal safety. For years, I confused patience with strength. I believed enduring quietly meant maturity. But endurance without boundaries slowly turns into self-erasure. That night taught me that survival without truth becomes submission to narratives that were never yours to uphold. I did not experience revenge as satisfaction. I experienced it as release. The kind of release that comes not from hurting someone back, but from no longer carrying their fabricated version of you. My body is still limited. My legs have not changed. Pain still arrives without invitation. Rooms still require calculations. Stairs still exist. But the most important movement I regained was internal. I no longer shrink to make others comfortable. I no longer apologize for occupying space. I no longer turn my pain into something digestible for those who benefit from misunderstanding it.